My friend has been a big believer in the Pikachu EX ever since it came out. He has been working very tirelessly to try and make this deck work, and this is basically his final iteration and the culmination of all his work. He has played over 100 test games in order to make sure that this deck is as good as it possibly can be. And, I'm going to go ahead and give off my sign of approval too. The big things that we are relying on here are our 4-4 line of Noctowl, which is really heavy, and our Magneton line. So condensing our entire support chain into a very, very small set of Pokemon allows us to focus entirely on the Pikachu without anything else. We also play a bunch of other ways of ramping the energy or cheating the energy out, like the previously mentioned Magneton, who can ramp 3 energy for the discard onto your Pikachu, the Crispin, who can allow you to attach an energy for your turn and get another energy into your hand, and the Sparkling Crystal, which will reduce the cost of the Pikachu's attack by 1. Lastly, the most notable card in here is probably the Gravity Mountain. This is what allows you to solely focus on being a Pikachu deck, because this will allow you to take one-hit knockouts against cards like Dragapult or Charizard EX, where you normally wouldn't be able to, thanks to its ability to reduce their HP down by 3 or by 30. If you guys enjoyed all the hard work that my friend put into making this deck list, and you guys enjoy the games, make sure to like, comment down below, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the matches. Getting started with the matches here, I will say, there was a lot of Dragapult on the ladder today. I'm pretty sure I did not play against anything besides Dragapult and like one Lost Tina. But, we got Dragapult here. We do start out with the Fan Rotom, which is kind of nice. It will allow me to immediately start searching out everything. And coupled with the Hoothoot I got off the Great Ball there, I'm able to grab one Hoothoot and double Noctowl. I was considering grabbing the Magneton since that is like the best card to grab off the Great Ball, since otherwise you have to commit an Ultra Ball this year's route, but that's fine. I could have also considered playing down the Beach Court, but I figured, I probably don't want to give my opponent the Beach Court immediately. As here, I'm just going to go ahead and, watch as my opponent sets up. I did get Ionin, which puts 2 of the Noctowls at the bottom of my deck. Normally this would suck a lot, but seeing as the other half of the Noctowls are still in the deck, we might be fine, especially because I already have an energy attached, which will allow me to Crispin and get the attack off. I would have liked to been able to get this attack off and kill, for example, the Rotom instead, but it's, fine. We will live. I am also going to go ahead and get the Magneton, which makes me feel better because it means that I'll be able to save the Magnemite from getting knocked out from the Dragapult. That's probably one of the scariest things, and one of the reasons why this deck actually goes first, as I was talking to my friend about it. He was explaining to me, it's like, yeah, well, you have Fan, and then you get knocked out on the next turn, and you hardly get any benefit out of going second. The biggest benefit you get is you get to play a supporter and watch out for Badu, but the deck actually plays a very low supporter count, so it's not necessarily super ready to tackle on Badu. Thankfully, we have a few other things that make the deck slightly better than that route. We have the Fan Rotom, which can contest it, and on top of that, we have the Noctowls, which just are such a great consistency piece. Here, my opponent is going to go for a slow setup here, and really have a hard time getting things down and set up here, as I have an Ultra Ball in my hand, which is going to allow me to start setting up for another possible Pikachu play. I do think one thing that's super interesting about this version of the deck, compared to everything else, is that it doesn't try to focus on any other gimmicks. There's no Miraidons, it's just straight Pikachu. You can technically have a Lumineon or a Cornerstone down, but those cards are pretty non-essential for the most part from what I found out. They're nice to have as backup plans, but for the most part, it's just Pikachu. And because Pikachu is really annoying to knock out, thanks to his Resolute Heart ability allowing it to survive hits, you will more likely get your value out of it, and your opponent will have a hard time finding multi-price knockouts. I did question my opponent's use of the Curse Blast here, putting it onto the Rotom Fan. I guess it's fine to put it onto the Fan, because you're going to guarantee that it'll get knocked out in the future, but otherwise, what are we doing? I'm going to go ahead and grab a boss, because I really want to take 2 prizes here, against my opponent, and this is basically the only way I can figure out how to do that. I'm also trying to figure out what else I need to do here in order to secure the knockout. I really don't want to pull my Magneton so early, because it's nice to have them as a backup option, but I realized, I should probably just do it anyways and save myself the trouble. This will allow me to get 2 prizes, even if I give up one to my opponent, And it means that, like, my opponent doesn't boss up the Magneton, I lose the value on it later. Because I can't maybe presume that my opponent might do something like that and try to screw me out of my resources. And because we play such a fat line of the Hoothoots and the Noctowls, it's really hard for your opponent to knock out your entire support engine from underneath you. They can, of course, play something like an Iono and, knock you down to a low amount, which is kind of the only thing that I feel like we're struggling a lot with. I'm hoping that, like, the constant tempo against my opponent, though, forces them into a situation where Iono is very uncomfortable. At least that would be my hope, right? Otherwise, we have the other Pikachu EX kind of ready. I wasn't quite sure if I wanted to put it down, because Dragapult attacks, they can put damage counters onto this backup Pikachu over here and break its Resolute Heart. But I figured that having the extra Pokemon down, if my opponent does Iona me, is probably better, just because I don't want to lose to, not having access to my Noctowls. And so I want to give myself the biggest chance, and I'm already so close to winning this match anyways, that I might as well just put down the Pikachu, and it having damage on it I don't think is going to matter a whole lot. That said, my opponent is prepared to Curse Blast me. They could do a lot of things with this. Though, they have not moved any damage onto my active Pikachu EX, which does mean it is going to live, and I'm also going to go ahead and take another prize. This could be potentially nice, paired with a Boss's Orders and a Bloodmoon Ursaluna for getting me another assured knockout onto the opponent here. That said, I'd be giving up my opponent a lot of tools, and they could technically outplay the Bloodmoon Ursaluna as well, so I'm not super enthusiastic about it. They're going to go ahead and take on the Pikachu EX though, which is good for them. And now, as you can probably see, we have a very good chance of assessing lethal here. Thankfully, the energy count is pretty thick, so I haven't run into any issues where I don't have access to energies for the Crispin. If you saw the Flareon Hydreigon video, I kind of had some issues where the energy line was super thin, but we do play a 4-4-3 split for no particular reason outside like the extra lighting energy maybe being okay for a Magneton attack. So we really don't have to worry too much about it, and we can just search out the Gravity Mountain as well to get our knockout against Dragapult. Not a matchup that I thought I was, going to be able to handle very easily, and then I ended up going 3-0 against Dragapult. Granted, I didn't play against too many other decks. Like I said, I played against a Lost Tina who I kind of bullied a little bit too much. I didn't want to put it in the video. And then there was a game I lost because I started Lumineon, and my opponent was Miraidon, so oops. That would have been a good match to showcase, I feel like, because Pikachu can outwall a lot of that stuff, and they all have great tools around it, so I feel like Pikachu should have dominated Miraidon if that matchup was played out. We do start with the Cornerstone here, which is not my favorite. I haven't gotten a value out of the Cornerstone yet, but I can see it being nice, especially because if your opponent plays Cancer Clones against the Pikachus, you can potentially lock out the opponent from winning the game with a surprise Cornerstone at the end. And then, of course, you just have to attach the Terra Crystal to it to make sure that it can attack. Opponent is playing some type of EV pile with Dragapults here. We did at least get a variation in the Dragapults that we played against, so it's a little unique on that front. But it's still a little concerning. What's not so concerning, or maybe it is the fact that I have triple Noctowl in my hand right now. So I am going to go ahead and get Room Spin, as well as a Magnemite. And then I could just go ahead and spin for triple Hoothoot, which seems pretty okay to me. I did consider grabbing another Noctowl until I remembered I had 3 of them in my hand. And I also set up a double Magnemite here. Because my opponent is going to have the evolution advantage against me, I just figure, I might as well try this to try and preserve one of my Magnetons and not lose them both at the same time. As said, my opponent is playing Arven, and their hand size is pretty low, so I'm not entirely sure what their chances are of getting an attack off this turn, because they need like Rare Candy, Dragapult, Terra Crystal. They need a whole lot right to go for them in order to get the knockout here, and all they do is just pull off the Sylveon. Honestly, I didn't even see what they grabbed, which is a little concerning because I was kind of expecting them to, do something here. So now I'm just searching through my deck. It's like, okay, so now what's the game plan? I can go ahead and grab a Beach Court and start swinging with my Rotom Fan to try to put on some pressure. This will allow me to take a prize card against them, which is the... I also go ahead and just play the Great Ball, just in case. And I also play the Beach Court after, because I think personally I'd rather have the energy in the discard, so I could go ahead and get the Magneton more charged up. Oh, that's why I was using the Great Ball to get a Magneton. I'm stupid. Here, I'm still not in a great spot because I don't really have access to a lot of my tools, but the Rotom Fan is at least scaring the Sylveon out and preventing them from going like for a full setup here. We're going to try again with the Arven and maybe piece together something, but they also aren't Gravity tools, so, you know, they must be in a really bad spot. I do believe, now that I remember, the last Arven grabbed a rare candy, so yeah, they are going to go ahead and, you know, get this rare candy going, and still just have nothing going. I'm able to thankfully evolve one of my Magnemites into a Magneton, which is going to help me stay safe here. And they're just going to get energy and knock out my Rotom, which is perfectly fine, because this will now allow me to pivot into Pikachu, and because I was able to put the chip damage onto the Dragapult, I will be perfectly safe in moving this Pikachu up and taking a knockout with it. I do kind of need to figure out what I'm doing about the Sylveon. I think that my gameplay might just be to put down another Rotom Fan against them, which I do believe I have. I could be wrong about that. As I'm just going to go ahead and freeze a little bit. I believe my internet was lagging a little bit at that point. I'm going to go ahead and discard the grass so I can ramp 3 with my Magneton here. And I'm just going to go ahead and pull Double Lightning. I don't exactly know how you're supposed to manage the energy in this deck, since it is a little weird. But typically, like, Crispin will do just fine. I think you want to take a spread of your energies out, so there's always, like, 2 options for Crispin to receive. Because it would definitely suck if you played your Crispin and could not ramp onto it. You know, speaking from personal experience here. I'm also going to go ahead and just grab another Magneton, because it seems like it might be helpful, and there's kind of no reason to leave it hanging, and my opponent's just going to concede. They're too far behind, which, you know, understandable, I get it. And then we're going to move on to our final game here, which honestly, I think this is like one of the weirder games that I had, only because it's like, I wasn't sure I was going to be able to beat it. We've seen quite a few crazy cards already, like there's a handheld fan in there, and, you know, the weirdness is only starting. Because my opponent is gonna unflip a Dreepy and a Bidoof, so now I'm thinking, oh my god, is this like a Highlander deck? Is every card in this deck gonna be unique, like that like 57 card video or 57 card deck I played earlier? I am gonna go ahead and just Buddy Poffin for double Hoothoot. That way my spin can go ahead and just grab double Noctowl. I do think I might have gotten overzealous with that without looking ahead. It's fine. I'm also going to go ahead and play the Crispin and attach it to my Rotom Fan. Even though I can't attack, I figured, it's going to have the energy out and going to be able to pivot later. I think my only concern right now is I don't have a Terra Pokemon in play, which is definitely devastating. I'd much rather have a Terra sooner or later so I can actually start doing my game plan. And I'm really close to actually firing off the Pikachu attack anyways. I think one other thing that sucks is I believe my Lumineon is prized in this game. I'm saying on this poor Seal Stone in my hands, like, it would have been so nice. That said, I don't think the Lumineon is like super helpful post like spin setup. I think it's only there if you like have a really, really bad start at the beginning. But thankfully we top deck a Pikachu and now everything is good. I do need to figure out how to swap out here while also getting Gravity Mountain. Normally this is where the Beach Court would be helpful, but we can't Beach Court out and play Gravity Mountain at the same time. I just go ahead and start grabbing the necessary pieces, so I know I'm going to have to use a Gravity Mountain and Crispin, and I'm just trying to take this like one step at a time here. As we can go ahead and, you know, just do the obvious thing here, attach the Crispin, get the other energy out, and put the Gravity Mountain down. Now, I still need to swap out of here, so thankfully there is a Switch Cart in the deck, and I didn't have to evolve my active Noctowl to do that. That said, if I only had 2 Noctowls in play, I could have always just sequenced that better, so I could grab the Switch Cart in my first set, as opposed to have to grab it in that second set. So I'm not too worried about not being able to pivot out the Noctowls because of that. And this is kind of like one of the nice parts about this version, the Pikachu EX build, is you can be really flooded in energies between your manual attachment, between Crispin, between Magneton. You just have a lot of ways of actually getting energy out onto the field, so it's really not that big of a concern yet, which is great. I love not having to worry about all my energy problems. Here, my opponent is going to go ahead and evolve into Dragapult and get the Pidgeot online. Getting the Pidgeot online can kind of suck, but I am sitting on a boss in my hand, and so I would just have to pop my Magneton in order to knock it out. Unfortunately, my opponent also plays a Hero's Cape, which I'm like, dude, what the fuck? I was not ready for that. Hero's Cape is a little scary because it kind of defeats the purpose of me having, the Gravity Mountain in the first place. It's like, damn, what do I do? I will say, though, my opponent only has 2 cards in their hand. Woo. Them only have 2 cards gives me a lot of faith that I will be able to kind of not worry about Iono. I really don't have an alternative here, so we're just going to go off of that. I'm going to go ahead and use my Noctowl just to like save and get some value out of it, as I'm now looking at what I need to do here. I do wish that I had, maybe saved this or thought about this a little bit more in advance, because I am currently panicking on what to do. I go ahead and grab the Nest Ball, and the reason for this is that I really want to be able to grab a, what's it called? I want to be able to grab a Pikachu next turn if he does end up knocking out my Pikachu here, which I think is super likely. And I also grab the Ultra Ball, which will give me access to a Noctowl afterwards, and that will allow me to, do my full combo essentially. In fact, I could even just Nest Ball now and get the Pikachu out, which I think is going to be my saving grace in, here. I think that was a good play. Here, I'm just going to go ahead and preemptively attach another energy to my Pikachu on the bench. I actually don't remember off the top of my head if Magneton has to attach all the energies to one Pokemon, or if it can spread it out. Because if I was able to... No, I couldn't do that any other way. Actually, that's not true. What I could have done is if you're able to spread the energy out, I put 2 energy on the Pikachu, and then just 1 energy on a Noctowl. Probably the one that doesn't have any damage on it. That way I have a free pivot, just in case something awful, horrible goes wrong. I'm in a really bad spot still, because my opponent has a boss that can easily get around this situation. So I'm just like, okay, I can't win this turn, but I can set myself up to win, just because I don't have access to any bursts left. So what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to Crispin onto the Pikachu here and attack with the Pikachu, which is fine. I'm not gonna be able to get the knockout, which is slightly unfortunate, but I'm gonna go ahead and put 300 damage on this. And then I use my Noctowl to also grab the boss's orders on the following turn. So if my opponent doesn't have the Iono, which it doesn't look like they have any playable supporter in their hand, then I'll be able to just boss it up and kill the Gachikuma afterwards and win the game. So I'm really hoping that my opponent doesn't have a whole lot going for them. And the attachment on the Dragapult in the back is a good sign, at least, because it kind of tells me, okay, he might not have anything else going for him. And that's great. The fact that I'm able to scrap out the situation after my opponent out-techs the tech with the fucking Hero's Cape is crazy. They are going to go ahead and just retreat here, and I have a sigh of relief, because I know what that means essentially. It just means it's over. They're going to go ahead and just put some damage on, unable to kill the Pikachu, but it's over for them. I could just attach and go to Gachikuma and then win the game. Yeah, these are just fun games. The deck is very fun. I think it's super cool and super unique. I would definitely give it a shot if you have the pieces. But otherwise, I hope you guys enjoyed the game, and yeah, subscribe, follow, blah, 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 all that stuff. Bye.